Today, we will be talking about renewable energy and how it has impacted the United States. This podcast will cover the following three questions. What percentage of electricity in the USA comes from renewable energy, and then what are the main sources of renewable energy? The advantages and disadvantages of using renewable energy, and what are the economic and political challenges of shifting to renewable energy to produce electricity in the U.S.? Over 20% of all U.S. electricity is renewable energy. That percentage continues to grow over the years. Wind, hydropower, solar, biomass, and geothermal energy make up the United States' 5 big renewable energy sources. The U.S. Department of Energy's Office of Renewable Energy offers huge funding for these activities and research and development in this. The renewable energy pillars consist of 4 technology offices: geothermal, solar energy, water power, and wind energy. The first is wind power. Wind power harnesses the kinetic energy of wind to generate electricity. The U.S. has extensive wind resources, which include large-scale wind farms located throughout the Midwest. Hydropower is the next. It utilizes the energy of flowing water to generate electricity. While conventional hydropower plants have long been a significant source of renewable energy in the U.S., new technologies like tide movements offer additional flexibility and are much more environmentally friendly. Solar energy is the third. It has 2 types, which are solar energy and solar thermal energy. Solar energy involves the heat and radiant light that the sun gives off. This heat and light is then captured and transformed into useful energy and heat. Solar thermal energy uses heat from the sun and generates electricity or heat. After that, the heat that has been gathered can be used directly to heat water or your home. Next, we have biomass. It is energy composed of organic materials such as wood, agricultural residues, and municipal solid waste that can be converted into heat, electricity, or biofuels. These can be used to generate renewable electricity, heat buildings, and produce transportation fuels. Geothermal is the final of these. This form is created when people use power taps, which drill into the Earth's core and gather the Earth's heat to produce electricity and heat buildings directly. The United States has an abundant amount of geothermal resources where geothermal power plants can harness steam or hot water from underground reservoirs to generate clean, renewable energy. Now we have the advantages and disadvantages of renewable sources. In my opinion, the advantages much outweigh the disadvantages. The advantages are renewable energy will not run out, it has lower maintenance requirements, it saves money, has numerous environmental benefits, creates jobs, and has a lower reliance on foreign countries for supplies. While its disadvantages are smaller, the high upfront costs can cause lots of trouble. We currently have limited storage capabilities, we are geographically limited, and it's not always 100% carbon free. Another huge advantage is that renewable energy lessens global warming. Humans using non-renewable sources are overloading our atmosphere with CO2, which is one of the largest human emissions. In contrast, most renewable energy sources produce little to no global warming emissions. Burning natural gas for electricity releases up to 2 pounds of carbon dioxide per kilowatt hour, while coal is even worse, releasing as much as 3.5 pounds. On the other hand, wind is responsible for not even a half pound of CO2 per kilowatt hour, while solar and geothermal are cut in half and at max release a 1/4 pound per hour. A study conducted in 2009 found that 25% of national renewable energy electricity standards would lower power plant CO2 emissions by 277 million metric tons by 2025. If this is done, the system used for renewable energy requires less overall maintenance than generators that use traditional fuel sources. This is because generating technology like solar panels and wind turbines have few or no moving parts and don't rely on the amount of fuel source. So this transmission would be helpful for both maintenance and the gases of Earth. The disadvantages: while you can save money using renewable energy, in the long run, the technology to create it is typically more expensive upfront than traditional energy generators, but financial incentives such as tax credits are being put in place to help alleviate the initial cost of renewable technology and convince new users to start going renewable. Renewable energy also comes with geographic limitations. Since the U.S. had such diverse geography, certain areas have better opportunities for usage than others. For example, a large property in a rural area is going to have a better chance to utilize renewable energy, such as a solar farm, while a townhome located in a city will not have the same chance. This creates a difficult situation as the more populated areas will have a harder time using these renewable sources. Then comes the hard part, the economic and political issues that come with these changes. In the U.S., switching from fossil fuels to renewable energy will obviously present both physical, political, and economic difficulties. From an economic perspective, the transition requires large upfront investments in renewable structures such as wind and solar farms, as well as improving the area in which this will be happening. This is a problem as these are very expensive, which could put a lot of pressure on public coffers and discourage private investment. Losses of jobs in the fossil fuel industry is another huge loss and worsens the situation because workforce transitions are hurt by differences in geography and training. This could work out, though, as it will also open up a lot of new job opportunities. Then comes the political problems, where differences among parties and special interests block political progress. Leaders upon all levels may oppose laws that upend long-standing sectors of the economy or groups of people, especially those that depend on fossil fuels. The situation is made worse by political disagreements over the urgency of the shift, which is made worse by the U.S. energy system's divided structure, in turn making it more difficult for federal, state, and local policies to be consistent. Regardless of these obstacles, effort is being made by the realization that reducing dependence on fossil fuels and minimizing climate change is essential. Implementing renewable energy requirements and offering tax breaks and subsidies are some ways to get more people to follow these new ways of living. Working together, stakeholders from the government, businesses, and communities can overcome political roadblocks and move the U.S. closer to sustainable energy future. And the four sources I used are U.S. Energy Information Admissions, Renewable Energy Explained, the Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy, the Union of Concerned Scientists, Benefits of Renewable Energy Use, and the final one was Pew Research Center, Renewable Energy is growing fast in the U.S., but fossil fuels still dominate.